Before I start this video, I wanted to let you guys know that this is entirely opinion based and ranked based on my perceived usefulness, not overall performance, so if you don't agree with me, let me know down below. But without further ado, let's dive into it. Starting with the worst, both the Camaro LT and Shelby GTR EVOs. I'm placing them last cause they're like so forgotten about. When they got added into the game, like no one cared. No one gave a fuck about these cars because they are D-class cars. That they aren't competitive at all. They are nowhere to be seen on the weekly competition cause they suck. And to top it all off, these EVOs don't even feel much better than the default car because D-class cars are pretty slow to begin with. And these EVOs are just slightly faster and a little bit more agile than the regular versions. But still, they are pretty stiff even at the lightest EVO possible. And D-class kings like the Chimera completely outclass these cars. Literally no point on using their EVOs ever. Then we got the BMW Homage EVO. What makes this car slightly better than the D-class EVOs is that it got these goofy ass EVO tuning pieces that make it go 363 km per hour on the air. But that's pretty much it. Using this EVO makes the car incredibly slow and stiff, and the other people will just beat you every time, unless you get super lucky with the track selection, but overall, it is pretty useless. The Camaro LT and Shelby GTR and the BMW Homage EVOs are all placed on Bronze 4 on multiplayer, literally the lowest league available, but still, I get automatically placed on Gold 4 on every multiplayer season reset, so I never even get to use the cars. But anyways, that's it. This EVO is only talked about because of the airspeed EVO tuning, but that shit is like so luck based of the track selection, and it's not very reliable to be honest. And other C-Class kings like the Gallardo or McLaren GT are simply better. Now, we move on to the Murcielago EVO. This EVO is fun to drive. It turns the regular Murcielago from being glued to the ground onto a floaty car, so now it can punch drift, and it becomes really bouncy when landing after a ramp. This is the part where all the EVOs from now on become really bouncy and fun to play, but keep in mind, on all of this video, I'm only gonna be talking about the light EVO tons, since I believe they are the better option than the really stiff heavy and overload versions. Anyways, the car is available on multiplayer on Silver 1, and it is better than most of the other cars of its league, but once again, I get placed on Gold 4 automatically, so I don't really get to use the car. It isn't super broken, but it is a good choice for MP1, but not for MP2, because you're gonna be facing 1-star Venom F5s, since after EVO tuning the car, it is placed at around rank 4000. Then we move on to the Enzo Ferrari EVO. This was one of the first 3 EVOs ever added into the game. It used to be pretty much the B-Class king when released, but then it got nerfed. It doesn't feel as bouncy as before, but still, it is pretty fun to drive. It got this really long satisfying nitro, and then it got this really good handling, meaning it can take wide corners without drifting and barely lose any speed. The top speed is great for B-Class, nearly at 400 km per hour, and pretty close to the F1LM. As of for right now, I'm using the Federalite Perfect Nitro, so the blue nitro is giving me a little bit more top speed than regular. The car feels really agile and responsive when using it. It feels glued to the ground but in a good way. It is floaty but not that much after the nerf. The punch drifts feel worse than on release, so drifting with this shit makes it lose all of its speed, but that doesn't make it useless. The car is available at Gold 4 on multiplayer, so the only downside is the bad acceleration, and the drifting of course. And if you get a really twisty track, it is pretty hard to win, but not impossible. You can just time your nitro and abuse the good handling and top speed, but one little mistake and you're done for. It is pretty hard to catch up if you mess up, but the car shines on straighter tracks, like Scotland, Himalayas, or Cairo. Next we got the ZR1 EVO. The reason I placed this over the Enzo EVO was because the ZR1 can actually punch drift and barely lose any speed when taking corners. It got this really strong powerful nitro that feels really explosive when using it. Then, it got really good acceleration. It is more versatile than the Enzo EVO, and the car is useful on Gauntlet on Divisions 4 and below. This EVO is a way safer choice for multiplayer because you can recover pretty fast after messing up, due to the explosive nitro boost and high acceleration, meaning you won't get shockwave from behind from those shitty ass bandas as often as other cars. So it is useful for both multiplayer and Gauntlet, but the only downside being its drifting radius, cause it is a little bit too wide, but you can just simply time it properly to not hit the wall when you take a corner. This EVO is simply better than the Enzo because it is bouncier and more fun to drive. I might make a video on this car soon, so stay tuned. Then we move to the funniest EVO of all time, the Aston Martin Valkyrie. This one is just stupid. It is pretty much the funniest EVO of them all, and it will be bouncing on every track you play. And most times, this gives you extra airspeed so you're actually faster. Gameloft really kept this shit behind tokens on its special event, so most people don't have it unlocked. With this car you're pretty much able to float on any corner there is, and barely lose any speed. It is great for long tracks because of it, and it bounces off literally anything, giving extra airspeed. but the only bad thing about it is that it just lacks acceleration, so it isn't useful at Gauntlet because of that, and other cars like the Nivera are just better for the game mode. And for MP2, the car is placed at nearly rank 5000, so you might as well just use something else. And that's why I placed the Valkyrie EVO below the other S-Class EVOs, because other from MP1 and the car being extremely fun to play, there's nothing more to it, or anywhere else where it can be useful. I know this has nothing to do with the video, but when recording it, I noticed this car did extremely good in Paris. Like, it's just designed for it because of the longest nitro and good punch drifts it got, so it literally just flies to retract. Now to the second best EVO, the SF90 Stradale. This one was extremely overpowered when released. I remember this shit was like so spammed on everything, Gauntlet, multiplayer and so on. It had this broken ass acceleration that was like the fastest on the game, and it completely dominated everything. Then it got nerfed cause, like no shit Sherlock, it was broken, so now it is just a great car that is still used regularly. The SF90 EVO just got like this super really good handling, where it just feels glued to the ground, and becomes extremely responsive to turning and drifting. The car is obviously still spammed in multiplayer at Platinum 2 or 3 or whatever the fuck it's placed at, cause they like change that shit every time. This EVO is like the only weird one, cause it is the only one that doesn't punch drift or float. Like, it is bouncy but it doesn't float, like it literally makes no sense. The car helps tremendously on MP1 on fucking trashy maps like Osaka or Caribbean cause I hate them, and then it is also really useful on Gauntlet. Even after the overload drivetrain tuning pieces nerf and the air acceleration nerf, it dominates on tracks like La Boca and that one like Kaido spin track, but it doesn't dominate half the Gauntlet tracks like before. It is still a great versatile car to have as a replacement when you already used your fastest cars on other tracks. This is probably the easiest EVO to use on the list cause it is just like a fucking banda. Like really good acceleration, really good nitro and handling, but the only thing that sucks is the top speed. So if you're like not that good at the game and you're not an alien, or you're a touch right player and you want something easy to use on multiplayer, you should probably go for this EVO. And finally, onto the best EVO currently on the game, the Bugatti Chiron EVO. This one completely changes how the car behaves. It turns the regular boring Chiron into a floaty beast. Now it can do long ass punch drifts and keep most of its speed when drifting. And using it with its new EVO tons, it improves the already crazy high acceleration, top speed and nitro it got, while becoming a lighter car. And overall, it is a huge improvement to the regular fat chunky Chiron. Every stat of the car is awesome, nothing really lags behind or fucks up its performance. Overall a balanced car, with every stat being great. It is really fun to drive because driving fast cars is fun like no shit Sherlock, it is easy to recover speed if you mess up, and you don't need to be an alien to have fun driving the car. But the only bad thing is that the car still fucking kills itself when wall riding. The car's bulky design got something against walls, so trying to wall ride with it becomes a suicide mission. The car is pretty much the best available one for Platinum 1, then on Gauntlet, it is at least top 5 best Gauntlet cars on the game. The car is extremely versatile for any track that you'll play because of the wide variety of tuning pieces it got, which you can carefully select to achieve the best time possible for the track that you will be playing on. Literally no other EVO is more useful or better than this one. So that was my list from worst to best EVO tons available ranked from least to most useful. As of for right now, that's every EVO in the entire game, since they may add more in the future. If you like this new ranking format type of videos or would like to see more in the future, let me know down below. Your feedback matters to me a lot. I read every comment, thanks for watching and I'll see you later.